Does this sound familiar to you? You're working harder than ever, and it feels like the system is working against you. You're not alone. Most hardworking people feel stuck just like you, no matter how hard they're hustling right now. What if I told you you don't have to wait for the system to change? You actually have the power to create your own financial freedom right now. And today, I'm going to show you how to do that. Thank you for joining me for Legacy Leaders Lounge. I'm Miles Threat, and I help ambitious leaders just like you build a lasting legacy no matter where you're at in your leadership journey right now. You see, a few years ago, I was broke, real broke and broken. That would define me. You see, I was drowning in debt, feeling like the system was totally against me. Didn't matter how hard I worked, what I did, I just could not get ahead. My life was unraveling in front of me, going through a divorce, afraid I was going to lose my kids. And the job I was working at the time, it sure wasn't bringing in enough money for me to survive on my own, to care for a household by myself. It was so bad, I was having to pay bills with my credit card, digging myself into a deeper hole. It felt like I was in this deep, muddy pit, and the harder I tried to climb out, the muddier I'd get, and I would try to dig my way up some, and the next thing you know, I'd slide right back down in there. I really felt like the system was against me. Hell, I felt like the world was against me at that point. And then I decided to take control. Even where I was at, I decided to take control and change my approach to it all. I started building multiple streams of income for myself, and I decided to invest in me. You see, I had these side hustles going. I was driving for Uber and Lyft and teaching English as a second language online to kids in China while I was working on my master's degree. Yeah, I was doing all that while I was working on my master's degree, coming out of the divorce at that point, rebuilding my life. Eventually, I got a promotion. That promotion helped me cover all of my bills. I was no longer having to use credit cards to pay them. I was no longer having to use a side hustle just to get by. The side hustles were helping me take care of some of that debt and build an investment stream for myself. And in the midst of all that, I betted on myself. I invested money in myself to help me grow and develop so that I could take my life and myself to a new level. So if you're feeling stuck right now, if you can't get by, there is hope. That hope is you taking ownership of the situation that you're in right now. And it's you being willing to do some things very differently. I'll walk you through the steps that I took. One, I had a mindset shift about money. I began to leverage side hustles, started investing and working on my financial freedom roadmap for myself. You see, right now, there's a large majority of you that is strapped by debt. Could be credit card debt, could be student loan debt, could be your housing cost. Right now, just in the first part of 2024, household debt in the U.S. grew by $184 billion. Average American can't afford a $500 emergency right now. Housing costs are going through the roof. 50% of renters today are spending over 30% of their income just to pay for housing, pay their rent. 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. And this is not just low income people. This is high income people as well. It is impacting everyone. The total U.S. credit card debt right now is $1.84 trillion for Americans. Most people don't have an emergency fund to fall back on. The reality is only 50% of Americans are considered financially literate. They don't know how to budget. They don't know how to save. They don't understand the basics of investing. My question is to you. Do you know how to budget? Do you know how to save? Do you know how to invest? You want to change that for yourself. The first place you need to work on is your mindset. What is your thought about money? You see, I grew up with a scarcity mindset towards money. Money was hard to come by. It was scarce around my house. Yeah, I understood the importance of hard work. I saw it. But I also saw that you could work your ass off and be consistent about it and be broke as hell. And I grew up with the idea, yeah, you got to work hard. But money is hard to come by. It is limited. No one ever taught me that there's an abundance of money out there. That is everywhere. It's accessible. Now, do I got to be creative and be willing to try some new things and do some things differently or think differently about it? Believe me, I knew how to use it on dumb shit. I didn't understand the importance of investing in myself or investing in things that would bring me a return on my investment. I didn't understand those concepts. And the first thing I had to change my mindset was about the fact that money is abundant. It is accessible. It is something that I can use and that I can be smart about it. I never thought I was smart with money. I didn't know how to be smart with money until I learned how. Now, I'm a spender, okay? And so I have to watch that. I know that about myself. And I've learned that I can be a spender as long as I know what I'm going to be spending my money on. And as long as I create a plan for how am I going to spend it? How am I going to use it? How am I going to invest it? Yeah, I'm making sure all my bills are paid and taken care of, but how am I going to invest it for the future? How am I going to have money to spend on that new set of golf clubs or that ski trip I want to take? My mindset about how I do that, and how I plan for that, and how I make that happen for myself had to change. And it had to become part of my planning and my thinking to make it happen for myself. I know if you're struggling right now and you're faced with some financial difficulties, this might sound like BS to you. But start with how you think about money. Instead of looking at it as a limited resource, look at it as an abundant resource that's available to you, that you have the ability to access it just like anybody else. You're going to have to change the way you do some things. You're going to have to change the way you think about it. But it can start happening for you today if you just change your mindset about it and realize that it is in abundance. It is accessible and you can access it and it's coming to you. It's coming to you from multiple directions right now. And you're going to make it happen for yourself because you're going to start with yourself. You're going to take ownership of your financial situation and it's your problem to start solving today. So now that you're taking ownership of your financial situation, if you know how much money's coming in, you know how much debt you got to pay. Do you have any money in savings right now? If you don't have any money in savings right now, any savings whatsoever, first thing you need to do after you figure out how much money's coming in, how much debt you got, you need to figure out how much money you can start saving right now to get to where you have $500 to $1,000 as your emergency fund somewhere. Minimal amount that you need to have. Get that first. And to get that, I would encourage you to create a side hustle for yourself. Yeah, you can work on your budget, spending plan, whatever you want to call it. Work on that later. Figure out what kind of side hustle you can start doing. I started out with Uber and Lyft because I could do it on my own time, on my own terms. Yeah, I had to use their app and all that kind of good stuff, but I didn't have to report somewhere at a certain time, show up when they wanted me to. And I also started doing the online ESL teaching because I had an ESL background and taught English as a second language and did that in Thailand for a long time. So I had that experience. I had the certification. I can do that. Those are two things I started right away. For you, it may be something different. It may be that you could begin to freelance some of your skills, whether you're in the graphic design, you're on the creative side, web design, whatever it might be, you could freelance some of your skills. If you're a writer, got software skills, you could create freelance work for yourself. You could work from platforms like Fiverr and Upwork and show some of your work there and be able to generate some side income through that as a freelancer. If you've got an expertise in leadership, business, or really and truly nowadays any kind of niche, health and fitness, whatever it might be, you could create your own coaching consulting business. Teach online like I did. You could do drop shifting, affiliate marketing, and the social media. You could become a social media manager. I mean, the list can go on. I can name off others. You could get into real estate. If you're into photography, videography, you could leverage that. Maybe Uber and Lyft aren't you. You could do DoorDash. Those are just some things that you can think about for yourself to create that side hustle, because the purpose of that side hustle in the early days right now is help you get out of debt. Every bit of money coming through that side hustle, you're going to stack that cash, pay off that debt, get rid of that debt, every bit of it. Even once you get rid of that debt, that side hustle is going to protect you against financial instability. It's going to become your wealth building source to help you get free from being dependent on a job. You know what job stands for, right? Just over broke. Okay. See, by diversifying like this and having that side hustle, you're going to give yourself some extra stability that you've never experienced or had before. This is kind of stability that a job cannot give you. Then when financial uncertainty hits, you've got some cushion there. You've got some protection, and you've got a method to grow your wealth. See, one of the keys with this side hustle, you got to have a long-term goal mindset towards it. You got to be thinking 3 to 5 years. And this is your 3 to 5 year plan. And that side hustle 3 to 5 year plan is designed to give you more personal freedom later on. Even more personal freedom from a job. Okay? Because that 3 to 5 year plan is going to have a compound effect to it. Here's just a small example. I want you to just imagine with me. You get that side hustle, and let's just say you're able to make an extra $10,000 a year from your side hustle. And we're just going to keep it simple. Might not sound like a lot of money, but just imagine you had an extra $10,000 coming in from your side hustle. Now, all your debt's paid off. You're bringing in an extra $10,000, but you're not spending that $10,000. You're going to invest that $10,000. And let's just say you invest that $10,000 and you put it into a high yield saving account, which is going to get you to 4.55% at max return on investment. Okay. If you did that first year, you're going to make $450 off of that $10,000. Doesn't sound like a lot, I know, but you made a little bit of money off of it. Plus, you're still making another $10,000 the next year. Year 2, you made $20,000. You've got $20,450 saved up. You realize that if you had $20,450 saved up, you could take that $20,000, put it down on a $200,000 house if you can find one right now, or you can go buy a $200,000 business by putting 10% down. And say you don't want to take that kind of risk right now. That's okay. Keep working your side hustle. Keep putting your money into it. Don't spend your money. Keep growing your money. If you just worked that side hustle and made $10,000, you didn't work any extra. You just made the $10,000 every year over 5 years, and all you did was put it into a high yield savings account at 4.5% interest. In 5 years, you're going to have $57,168. What could you do with that? Do you realize that there again, with that kind of money, you could invest into real estate? You could buy a business. Yeah, you could take some of it and renovate your home if you wanted to. Or, yeah, you could take some of it and buy a car if you wanted to. But I wouldn't take all that $57,000 and buy a car. That wouldn't make me any money. If you really want to create financial freedom for yourself, you would take that $57,000 and you could turn that over and invest it into S&P 500 if you wanted to. You could buy that business. There's all kinds of things that you could do with it to generate more money for yourself. And the key is, if you start that side hustle, you got to have a plan. How are you going to use the money and be consistent? And there again, you got to go back and create that ownership. You got to own this and own the process and own how you're going to do it. Then if you take it and you invest it into something that's going to generate more money for yourself, just imagine the freedom that you're going to have. Let's just say that side hustle you like doing that keeps making you that $10,000, and maybe you enjoy it so much and it just grows naturally. And some of the money you make off of it, you just reinvest it into your side hustle. If you reinvest it in your side hustle, you're going to generate even more money for yourself. Or maybe you take some of that money you're making from your side hustle and you invest it in yourself. You invest it by getting you a coach, signing up for a mastermind somewhere, and help you grow and develop. Then you're going to see your investment grow further because you've invested in the best resource you have, yourself. So in the beginning, I told you, figure out how much money you have coming in, know how much debt you owe and need to pay off, get that emergency fund established, $1,000, get a side hustle, determine what that's going to be for yourself. Builds that emergency fund first, gets that $1,000, then it starts knocking out that debt. Once that debt is gone, your emergency fund's there, you stack that cash from your side hustle so you can start investing. If this has resonated with you and you want help building out your financial freedom plan, set up a discovery call with me in the link below, and I will help you create that freedom you desire so you can leave a lasting legacy for yourself and your family.